And I want to take a minute to really address what I'm hoping to hear, but also point out that for years, this legislature has really sent a clear message to the oil and gas producers and refineries. And that message was and has been, you don't have a future here. And the markets responded. Capital left, reinvestment slowed, and now we're seeing refineries have closed down. In 1982, there were 43 refineries in California. Today, we have 7.
43 refineries, and now today we have 7. Listen, when I tell you that there is nothing more that you need to look at when it regards you moving to a state, or that being also that you moving up out of a state, right? You don't have to look no more further than gas prices. And this is the reason why. Primarily, when you look at gas prices, if you see gas prices being double the national average, double the national average, almost double the national average. I think the national average is roughly around like $2, right? Gas prices in California are almost at a $5 rate per gallon. And you think why that manufacturing companies are not moving into the state. And that the only reason that you actually see anybody moving into the state of California is primarily to extract the minerals out of the Central Valley so that they can take those minerals, take it up out of the state and do the manufacturing elsewhere. All right, just think in terms of real estate, right? If you want to go purchase real estate in the state of California as a real estate agent, would you have what would be the one of the first key elements that you need to look at when in regards to should I go purchase real estate in California with the price of homes being so much? Am I going to be able to actually be able to sell the home when it comes to looking at energy? You will say, hold up, so energy consumption for a gallon of gas in the state of California is double the national average. If the individuals that need to purchase homes are not able to afford the gas, and primarily increasing the cost of living because you know energy is so powerful in its mechanisms for you have to get deliver food to the grocery stores, you stuff that people ordinarily want to consume, not just in terms of food, but products and services and stuff like that. All these things, right, takes energy. It takes natural gas. So when you think about if I want to be a real estate agent, should I go and purchase some real estate to either flip, rent out in a state like California? What should you first look at? You need to look at gas prices.
Meanwhile, demand is up, and Californians are paying about 50% more at the pump than the national average. We produce roughly 20% of the crude oil that we consume, and more than 65% of that comes from foreign sources.
She just said it comes 60% of California's gas is coming from foreign sources because we have lost so many oil refineries that California is not able to even produce its own gas. It's not having the ability to extract crude oil to end up turning for it to go through the refining process for it to actually turn into a gas that you can pump inside of your car, because oil refineries have taken flight over this whole idea for the last 20 years that they've been selling with regards to green energy. Now, let me listen. Energy is so important, right? Because when you think about energy and you think about how natural gas plays an important role in a company's ability to operate, right? You're not going to get what you need for a 24-hour service, a 24-hour production with regards to manufacturing if with solar energy. with solar energy, with any type of wind power, because for first and foremost, man, you need a lot of turbines. You're going to need a lot of solar panels. So the solar panel industry, you can only get a certain amount of wattage up out of these solar panels, and it takes a lot of them, right? So think about how you see the tops of homes flooded with solar panels, right? How much more do you think a corporation would need for something like solar panels during peak operation times? But also, what if this manufacturing company operates 24/7? Think about the trash cans that got to get picked up that you set outside once a week. Them big heavy duty, trash trucks. Think about the food that you got to haul into your grocery stores. Think about the products that you buy that comes overseas from ports. Think of all the stuff that got to move with the availability of just gasoline alone. It's all about gasoline alone. And when you think about the cost of living in the state of California, you have to pay attention to the gas pump, because that's going to tell you a lot about the stability and the governance of any state.
We are one more refinery closure, one more pipeline failure, and we'll be staring at catastrophic instability.
Catastrophic instability. That was California State Senator Suzette Martinez Valladares going viral on social media, schooling California's Democrat supermajority on economics and for chasing oil companies out of the state, causing California voters' gas and utility costs to skyrocket. And that California State Senator is joining us now. Suzette Martinez Valladares, thank you so much for joining us. Did any California Democrat say, yes, you're right, about what you said? There will be economic instability in Gavin Newsom's California.
Well, Liz, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And I really made it simple yesterday in our hearing in hopes that they would understand, that my colleagues would recognize and admit that this is 20 years in the making, and our California families are suffering every day at the pump. We've seen gas since the recent idling of the Valero refinery earlier this month. We've seen gas prices raised by 40 cents. And no, they don't understand.
Listen, wow, I was at the gas pump probably like a month ago. I actually, being a Californian, filled my gas tank up so high that, because this 40 cents that she's talking about was not on the current prices of gas, that I filled my gas tank up too much and bust my fuel lines, just based on the surprise of that 40 cents being taken away, from the price of gas, that I got excited and just put $60 in the tank, not looking at the gas prices, expecting the gas prices to be normally what they always are, and ended up busting my gas tank. Now, I can accept that. I busted my gas line. I can accept that a little bit, because all I had to do was just, tighten the screw a little bit and fix the line, right? But however, man, how did it end up spiking so fast, so quickly? Because the next time when I got in my gas tank, when I got put some gas in my car, right? Here I am. Now, I do have an electric vehicle, but here I am. Here I am. Put 60, I think I put less actually gas in the car. I think instead of putting 60, I put 40 or $50 in the tank. And here I am. When I go and I look at the gas gauge inside the car, I had to turn the vehicle back on. I'm like, man, it look like I ain't put no gas in my car. It looked like I didn't put no gas in my car, man. Like, what's going on, man? So, man, when I tell you that these pumps, just think about this, right? On another perspective, since 2018, over 350 to 360 companies have relocated their headquarters out of state California, citing the high energy costs. These are jobs that we losing out here in California. Jobs. You know what I'm saying? Just think about it from that perspective. If you're not able to get a job to maintain your living standards, California is completely going into, the only jobs that you're going to be able to get in California are service-based jobs, and that's on those service-based jobs are on the lower end of the spectrum when it comes to salary and things like that. They're all they're not. You can never really actually say that they're actually kind of like blue collar jobs. They fit it in there a little bit. However, when you think about it, if you're only getting paid to sit in front of a computer all day without any skills or degrees such as data science, computer science, or something like that, which completely is, going under the table right now, right? Because you can get AI to do the same thing that a computer sciences can do through AI. But even AI companies are ready to leave the state of California because why? You need HVAC systems. These AI data centers have to be cooled. They need natural gas within themselves to actually work because it takes energy to actually run these big old data centers that are beginning to be developed in the United States. But California is just not one of them places to where they are trying to develop these data centers. So while Gavin Newsom is touting about it being the number one in AI, we gonna see how long that actually is able to last with these higher energy costs.
Stand. This is what they have been asking for the last 20 years to get rid of the oil and gas industry in California, and the industry's leaving. But supply is diminishing, but demand is not. And it doesn't only impact California families. It's a Western US issue, it's a global issue. And my colleagues and I have actually called for a special session. We've called on the governor because if we don't deal with this now, we are free falling, and this is a death spiral, and it will not be a soft landing.
Really interesting. I mean, it's scary what you pointed out. I mean, what do you make of this? A new Emerson poll, GOP candidate Steve Hilton in the lead to be California's next governor. 45% of California voters disapprove of Gavin Newsom. That's the highest since 2024. Your word on that?
Well, when you have a leader who fails to lead in a state that is facing so many crises, it's no surprise that the voters and our constituents are finally waking up and realizing we don't have leadership, which is why businesses leaving California, from Oracle to Tesla to refineries closing to the best burger in California, In-N-Out CEO relocating to Tennessee. Californians have had enough, and we're hoping it's going to change at the polls.
State Senator Suzette Martinez Valladares from California. Really interesting interview. We'll stay on the story. Thank you so much for talking us.
California is doing horribly, pretty much so, because you got to look at why Trump is allowing these companies, these big companies like Oracle, like OpenAI, which left California, to build their own power plants. You know what I'm saying? And not be so dependent on the grid when it comes to their consumption of energy to, actually have these big AI data centers run, right? Because they become less grid dependent, right? If they can produce their own energy and give energy absolutely back to the grid, it absolutely becomes a national security issue, man. If they don't have the energy, if we want to compete on a global market, global scale, with regards to AI, and if we can't leave it up to the states like California to get us there right to compete with places like China, why it has this grand relationship with China, we're not going to be able to compete in the future if energy prices continue to go up. Think of all the jobs that are left the state of California that you are not able to get, and how people are moving. California lost, it actually lost its population, the number of its population in most recent times. I don't know where the number came from, but Gavin Newsom went back and said that the California population was actually growing when it actually wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Citizens are leaving the state of California. Your average American citizen is leaving California while, service jobs. Listen, housing is one thing. You know what I'm saying? Construction is one thing. They might be able to provide subsidies for individuals, corporations to actually be able to build. But them subsidies are going to be needed if the price of energy. Think about all that you need to move wood, all the things that you need to build a building. That has a lot of impact. Think about all the things that for individuals like construction workers to actually get to your job site. All these takes good wages to actually provide to them so they can get to the work site and be able to have a sustained living, be able to get there on time without having to worry about man, I don't have enough gas in my car to actually get to work. Think about the hotels that needs to be built. You know what I'm saying? Besides just from a residential perspective of permanent housing, think about hotels for a minute. You know, ain't no hotel about to be able to survive by operating on no solar panels. That's out. Ain't no hotel is about to be able to survive off. Think about the major hotels. Think about the winds. Think about there are just so many to actually think about. Some of these hotels operate, you know, have 24-hour pools. It's probably stopped down probably like 1 or 2 o'clock. But think about just the pool alone. How soon as it get dark around like 6, 7 o'clock, depending on the time of the year. So think about just how the pools is going to function along with, you know, circulating that water and going through the pump system and doing all it needs to filtrate. Think about keeping the lights on. These hotels are not going to be able to operate if we had to completely depend on green energy as a source of our energy. California missed the ball. It was always a dream with regards to having this big idea with regards to green energy. Because I'm telling you right now, I'm a person that knows how to, I used to, when they was talking about all this green energy stuff, I said, okay, let me go into solar panels. Went through all that. And so when you look at all these solar panels that's on top of these houses, think of how much more that you will have to supply to a hotel, to a business to actually operate and function. Man, you will run out of space within the state of California if you had to put all these solar panels up for a business to actually operate. So natural gas is actually the best source for, a company to actually function and run. So it was a dream in the first place. And instead of, you know, taking the responsibility in this governance and the leadership in this governance, actually saying that, you know, this is not going to actually work. Here he is. They just want to keep on, you know, putting on this imaginary idea that is not feasible. Tiny Cross-H.U.G on the Trunked Up Live Show. Always remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Man, make a decision. Should you go or should you stay?